Hey, and thanks for joining us on this week's episode of For All Things Lexington, the only show dedicated to Lexington, South Carolina, and where a spade is always a spade. Here we'll talk to and about people, places, groups, things to do, and places to go in and around Lexington, South Carolina. I'm your host, Angela Barrett, and this is For All Things Lexington. Brought to you in part by GervaisStreetBridge.com, Columbia's most unforgettable free-to-list business directory.
And by Angela Barrett at HomeMattersSC.com, building on what matters to you.
Hey guys, today I am at the Lexington County Animal Services Adoptions. Did I get that wrong? Lexington County Animal Service Adoptions. Is that right?
Lexington County Animal Services.
Okay. I had all backwards. And it's written right there. I have Kristina Garman with me today, and who is the Rescue Adoption Coordinator. I have Lisa Thomas, the admin assistant here, and I think the spokesperson for the Animal Adoption Service. And then Courtney Pendleton. I don't think I got your title.
I'm one of our 7 shelter attendants.
Okay, cool. Shelter attendant. Well, thank y'all for letting me disturb your day and Halloween to boot.
Yeah.
This actually won't come out until about mid-December, but that's how this works, is record now and comes out later. So here, let me ask the first question. Are any of y'all officers Lexington through the county?
I was.
Okay. And I just saw some of y'all with like more official attire on than just, everyday wear. So I wanted to just ask.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what made you go from officer to this?
Mm-hmm. I've kind of wore several hats while I've been here. I started off the shelter staff, and I was rescue coordinator. I spent some time on the road, and, just your wear and tear of your body. The office position opened, and
Sure.
I love this organization, so I just moved into that position.
Oh, and forgot to ask who our friend is.
Claire. Yeah, so this is our special guest, Claire.
In your Halloween costume.
Say, I'm an angel.
I hear that's debatable, dear.
Yeah, yes, most definitely. Come here, Claire.
Yeah, she's one of our adoption dogs available for adoption.
Right. And what kind of dog?
She is a Australian Shepherd mix, is what we have her down as. She's 3 years old, and she came into the shelter of March of 2022. Got adopted back in June of 2022, and then was just returned in August. She was just too much for her adopters to handle.
I gotcha.
But she's one of our favorites here, and we just want to get her adopted. She's been on TV quite a few times. She's gone to several adoption events with us, and unfortunately, she's still here. She is a big couch potato. She's very submissive, loves new friends, and I think she would do really great in a home being an inside dog.
Sure. Well, it's kind of hard to have an outside dog in South Carolina. It gets hot.
Oh, yes, most definitely.
Yeah. So, obviously, you guys rescue animals, not just dogs, though, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Other things.
Other things, yes. Cats, livestock.
Birds, horses, goats. I've seen the goat. I know there was a goat.
Yeah. We currently have a guinea pig.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was abandoned in a parking lot. So
Now, where do y'all, I know there's dog kennels, and I've seen those, but where do you keep, like, all the rest of the animals, like the horse and the goats and things like that? Where do they go?
We actually have a barn.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'll have to check that out. That's pretty cool. And I understand the goat did get homed, so that's good. Now, how do y'all go about rescuing? I know that people can come and surrender animals if they can't handle them, or begin, too much. But how else? Are you just called, or how does that work?
So I'll go ahead and answer that question. So we don't take in owner surrender animals right away. We do have a program called the Managed Intake. It's a 2-week process that we make the owners go through. It helps keep the animals out of the shelter, and we tell them, try on your end to find them a home. And then also I reach out to over 200 rescues all throughout the U.S., including Canada. And try to market them out to rescues as well to try and find them a home before coming into the shelter. Unfortunately, right now, rescues pools have slowed down. So with managed intakes, those are still coming into the shelter. And then our dogs that are not pooled for adoption, that are available to rescue only, end up being here for quite some time until we can try to either, one, put them up for adoption or find them a rescue. So, but it's hard everywhere. Everybody's suffering right now with the intake of animals. So we just highly, highly ask that, if anybody's a 501c3 rescue, to reach out to us, let us know, and send us your information, and we would love to have new rescue partners.
Okay, cool. And the beauty of the managed intake program is, we just don't let people, they get angry because the dog may have chewed up their shoes or been destructive, and they just wanted to get rid of the dog. This gives them the opportunity.
Grandma's table.
Yeah. I mean, it gives them a couple weeks to simmer down, first of all, maybe find another solution. But we also give them some other rescue resources of their own for them to try things as well. So, sometimes it actually helps.
Yeah. So that begs the question, euthanization. Obviously, we've been here a while. Yes or no?
Unfortunately, we do. But we try to make that our last resort. And, the times that our euthanization are severely injured, very sick, aged, or their behavior. We have 5 and 6 dogs to a kennel right now, and we have 64 kennels. So that's a lot. We have 156 dogs in our shelter right now.
What other animals do you, because that is a lot. What other animals do you have presently?
Presently, we have several cats. I want to say maybe less than 7 cats right now. We have only 2 cats up for adoption, and then we have 59 dogs in our adoption program.
Oh, wow.
So we have a lot. We need a lot of people to come adopt. We did have a very successful weekend. This weekend, we had 29 dogs adopted this weekend at Wolfstock. We had 13 adopted at Wolfstock, and then the rest were here at the shelter on Saturday. So it was a very successful weekend. We wish we could keep it up like that all the time. Pre-COVID, we couldn't keep dogs on adoption row. And now that, people during COVID would come in, they were bored at home, wanted an animal, and then now they're going back to work, and that's where it's hurting us, is just people surrendering their animals. And it's all throughout the shelters within the U.S. as well, not just us.
Yeah, well, dogs especially, at least this is how I feel. I mean, dogs are like children. I mean, you have to take them out to go to the bathroom. You have to, like with a cat, there's a litter box. Sure, do you have to clean the litter box? Same with, I had birds at one time. Same with the birds. Yes, you eventually clean the cage, but there's, can do that by themselves. Dogs, however, cannot, unless you have teeny weeny dogs with those little poo-poo pads or whatever. But that stinks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
it's a lifetime commitment.
Yeah, it's
in
a lot
order
of
to
work.
get a dog. It's just like our children. I would not want to surrender my child. You know, and it's a lifetime commitment.
Right.
You want to adopt, make sure that's something that you want to do for the rest of their life.
I'm not sure if my dog actually, I think, came from here. My son did it 15 years later. We still have the dog. Well, physically we don't. He just came and got him. And it's because he was able to take him now, bigger place and able to take him. But he came, he was always very skittish. I grew up around, my dad trained dogs. And so we kennel trained and we know how to train. And he was, in the beginning, very skittish and, loved marking territory and eating the legs of grandma's chair. But, eventually we got out of all that. And now he's white bearded and white hair. Probably don't have him much longer, but
And that's good that you bring that up because we try and tell people that when they adopt the dog, it's not going to immediately be the perfect dog.
oh no.
There's a decompression period. It could take 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months.
Right.
It's a commitment. But I mean, in the long run, I mean, you got the sweetest dog in the world.
Right. Well, again, I mean, humans aren't perfect every day, and that's
Exactly.
grown adults. So dogs or cats or any other, they aren't going to be either. So, but yeah, I mean, just people need to remember that it takes a little while, especially coming out of a shelter.
Yeah, oh, yes,
Yeah.
because
There's a shock to
They
the
all have a
system.
history. They all have a past.
yeah,
Right.
and that's the thing is, we have people come in and ask, well, is the dog house trained or does it no commands? And like, no, we don't know their past. We don't know where they came from. It's more likely that we don't know any information on them, so it's hard
just
for us to tell.
Tell them, I say assume they're not. Just
Yeah.
pretend they're not. Get them on a schedule. If they happen to be, that's a bonus. But
Yeah,
no,
right.
you know.
And the or crate, as I call it, training is probably one of the easiest, as long as the sizing is right.
Exactly.
Kenneling is the best tool for everybody in the long run.
Right.
My dogs they crate themselves.
Oh yes, mine.
It gives them a
did
place
too.
of their
Yeah.
own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not the little Shih Tzu. He thought he was human. And
No, my Chihuahua was not going.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No, it's
Oh,
more of
no.
our medium-sized
Yeah.
dogs.
yeah, for the lab/mix.
Yeah.
He certainly that's where he wanted to be.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, all right. So, tell us the process when you do get an animal. What happens? I mean, whether it be somebody finally went through the program and it didn't last, and they had to surrender the dog, or an animal was found. What happens next?
Well, immediately when we start the process, we try to get as much information. Like our form, it asks behavioral issues, if they know any tricks, if they know anything, so we know as much about the dogs. On intake, we automatically give them vaccines. We try to figure out the dogs ourselves because usually we don't get much from the people. It's more like, we can't take care of the dog. Can you take it? So that's pretty much all we get. And then we pretty much have to evaluate it, see how it does, try to see if it does good with other dogs. Immediately our vet decides if it would go for adoption. She sees how it does with other dogs, with people, or if Kristina would put it on our rescue email. And a lot of times we'll get breeds in where she knows exactly who to call and everything. But then also there's a lot of times where we get the basic lab mix or pit mix where we really can't get it to go anywhere, so we try to put it on adoption row. So it starts with, as soon as they come in, making sure they're healthy, making sure we can figure out a place for them to go other than being stressed out in the shelter itself.
And so you have a good question for me. The vet, is that a county employee or is that somebody?
Yes, she's a county employee.
Yeah, we have a full-time vet and vet techs on staff.
Okay.
Vet tech on staff, yes.
And most of the money for you guys to take care of these dogs come from the county, but it also comes from some fundraising or that kind of thing, or
Not really. I mean, because we're a county-run facility, we have a budget. I mean, people love to donate to us because we're always in need of items. We go through towels like crazy. We go through blankets like crazy. We're always going through food, and people want to help, and we appreciate it very much. Now, anytime people want to make monetary donations, they actually, we're part of the Animal Mission right now. We've been included in the voucher program, so we have it go towards Lexington County for our voucher program.
oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Now, what about, do you have people that want to come and walk dogs or help you guys out? I mean, like, I have a friend who lives in Virginia. She goes every Wednesday and walks dogs. And I have never heard of a program like that around here. So I thought, well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, we did have a volunteer program a while back. It is something, actually, it's back in the works, so it's something we are working on.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Yeah, that would help
Yes.
relieve some of you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, because in
That many
is the
kennels.
key. I mean, these are kennels. When they're in kennels, behaviors break down. So, the more they're out, they're socialized, the more they're exercised and rich, the better for them.
Right. And the more they're around people.
Yes, it gives them a
Yeah.
better chance at being adopted.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, because even if somebody worked on just
Right. We need to help somebody at county. We need,
yeah, well, if they taught a dog how to sit, that can mean the dog getting
Yeah.
fed.
Yeah.
You know, the smallest little thing. You wouldn't think it's a big deal, but it's a huge deal.
Right. Yeah, it is. Yeah. The basic commands are a huge deal. You're right. So now, while they're here, those that you're waiting on adoption, I mean, other than the basic everyday needs, I guess you try to get them out as much as. I mean, what else do y'all help or do with the dogs and other animals? I forget other animals.
Sometimes we do enrichment, like we'll hide treats in the play yard, let them go find it. We'll switch them up. Sometimes we'll get a huge group of dogs out and let them run around. Mainly we just try to get their mind off just being stuck in the kennels, because at that point they're scared.
Sure.
Their personality, like Lisa said, is broken down. It's hard to figure them out, and it's not their fault because it is a stressful situation.
Sure.
They're not with dogs they know, and there's a lot going on around them. So,
And for the most part, I guess you have to keep up with the dogs that do get along in the yard as well as the kennels.
yes.
Yep. Well, that's a constant thing. They come up with play groups, but I mean, it's just like people,
Yeah.
People
Sure.
don't like each other,
Sure.
you know?
And I have neighbors that sometimes never even knew we had a dog, but I knew I had one neighbor who was frightened of dogs, and so we always, in his little room where he had his bed and all that, he stayed, and he was older, so he didn't bark. But, dogs, just like people, might not be in a very good mood that day. You just never know. So we just didn't ever put ourselves in that situation. So not that he was harmless, absolutely harmless. A little, I always said he was a helmet dog, and I don't mean that ugly. He just, something was, I guess because he was a mixed breed, something was all mixed up. Like when he got excited, like happy excited, the hair on the back of his neck tough, like it would if he was in a defense mode.
Sure.
I'm like, yeah, see, something got screwed up.
Yeah.
But if you didn't know that would be probably frightful.
Yeah.
But if he got really excited, everything back here would just, like, how that's supposed to work, buddy. Now, where all do y'all, is it just Lexington County, or do you have other things that filter in Saluda, or it's just all Lexington?
Only Lexington County, yes.
Gotcha. And if you have a dog that comes in, let's just say you found him in Food Line parking lot, process the same?
Pretty much.
Not much information.
Yeah, not much information. Us trying to figure out the dog. But we do hold them for a 5 business day straight hold to see if anybody had come for them. We're always trying to find owners, scanning them for microchips. If they have a microchip, we try to hold them longer just to make sure we get in contact. Just to make sure we're not putting a dog up for adoption or sending it to rescue when it has an owner and the dog ran out the door and they're just missing it. So,
Sure. Now, if they don't have a chip, I mean, is there anywhere other than, I heard you on the phone earlier, physically calling up here and saying, hey, is my dog there? I mean, is there a website that
and
keeps up with?
we appreciate people calling, but we would prefer people to come physically look, because, well, their description of Claire here would say that she's a brown boxer. I'm like, she's not a boxer,
Right.
So people's descriptions vary. So we would highly recommend people come in and look. Now, there is a site, it's 24petconnect.com. And then if you use the zip code for here in the filter portion, the 29072, you can view animals located at Lexington County, because like she was saying, we do take photos of them. So people can keep their eye on that as well.
Yeah, well, that's a good bite to know, because I mean, there's.
And I also ask for people to send us photos or flyers, even that way, if somebody were to come in, that they found a dog, or if they call me on the phone, hey, I found a dog. I'm like, I know somebody that's looking for that dog.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, and we highly recommend everybody to microchip their dogs. It is actually going to be mandatory that our dogs are have their name tags or other information as far as on the collar, rabies tag, and or microchip. So some of our officers are checking for pet ID, and it is in our ordinance that every pet is to have a pet ID.
Well, yeah, pet ID, but not chipped yet. That's not.
That
Yeah,
acts as
it's
a
about
common
coming.
identification.
Yeah.
It's something identifiable. Like if any dog were to come in, if it's wearing a rabies tag or even a name tag, a name on a collar, or the microchip, we consider that something identifiable. So we're going to check it out as far as we can take it.
Yeah. But again, a collar can come off. So
Mhm.
the microchip is the better way. to go.
Absolutely. It's always down.
exactly.
Yeah.
My personal pet, she has 5 tags. So I make sure that she is identifiable. And even if her collar was to come off, she's still microchipped. So we do highly, and we're very thankful for people that do microchip their
Sure.
animals. For the animals that come in, they are microchipped. We're like, oh, good.
So what is the cost of that? I mean, again, mine's 15.
It depends on where you go. Because here, actually, for Lexington County residents, we do it for $10. Palmetto Lifeline, the caravans, they microchip Pit and Pitbull makes this for free.
And why just that breed?
Because we get so many of them in shelters. So if you guys,
Such a bad rap.
Yeah.
and it's unfortunate, just there's so many of them, but so that's a good resource. But any vet's office will microchip a pet, so it's easy to find
Gotcha.
and affordable.
Yeah, that is affordable. And with the vans, I mean, so is the
Vaccine.
vaccines and your
Mhm.
heartworm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still more expensive
Yeah.
than any of it, but
Yeah,
still,
there's
there's need to get
licensed
it
vet on all of the mobile vans that go
Right.
around, so
Yeah.
they can do any of the vaccines
right.
and even offer some of the meds as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And those, I mean, they have. That's another website that people can go to, and
Yeah.
because they're around all the time.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
oh yeah. Some of them go to the same location every week, but also on the websites, you go on there and you can find a schedule.
Yeah, there's one that usually comes out here sometimes as well.
Mhm.
And they do it from 5 to 6. And it is a state requirement for every animal to have their rabies vaccine, because we do run across people that say that, oh, well, I didn't know they had to have their rabies vaccines. It is required by state law that animals have their rabies vaccines. So that's a lot of the problems that we see here in Lexington County as well, is, when our officers go out, and they always ask for the proof of rabies. So just make sure that the residents of Lexington County get their animals up to date on their rabies vaccines as well.
So a lot of times too, me being an officer on the road, people, for one, they may think that that's too young, but it's actually like state of South Carolina, it's over 12 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the vaccines, they may think that one is good, and then but they do expire.
Right.
There's either a 1 year or 3 year that you can get, so that's something you run into a lot as well.
Right. Now let's talk about the adoption process. So we've got a dog, and somebody says, yes, like that dog. Do they take them home that day, or do they have to go through a kind of a vetting process?
Same day.
Same.
Yeah. Yep. Now we want to make sure it's successful. Our staff's fantastic at making sure that people spend enough quality time with the dogs, asking the right questions. They're there with them through the whole process. And if somebody has a pet of their own, they can bring it, see if it's a good match. They can bring their kids, because
Yeah.
definitely want to make sure the
Yeah.
dog likes kids.
Yeah.
Right.
That's one of the big questions. Oh, is it kid friendly? Well, we don't know. We can't kid test.
Don't
So
really
just
have a child
Yeah.
around.
They're more than welcome to come.
Right.
I do sometimes bring my 3-year-old, my 15-year-old in, and let them walk through adoptions. And I try to observe how the adoption animals act towards my children, and I relay that back to the shelter staff. Well, this dog reacted this way to my child. It may not do well with children. And it's a lot to go through.
Well, and even because they're teenagers, so
Yeah.
I mean, think about the little ones that pull ears or tails,
Yeah.
things like
Mhm.
that.
And that's why a lot of times too, with somebody with children, we may even just recommend. I mean, even though puppies are gross,
Yeah.
but you kind of have a clean slate with the puppy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have the history.
Yeah, they
Right.
grow up with them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easier to get a puppy on a schedule, because I've learned that it's easier to get a puppy on your schedule than it is an adult dog, because an adult dog is set in their ways already. Like Miss Claire here, I think it would take a lot longer for her to deal with change than a puppy, simply because she's so used to the routine here.
Sure.
You know, the routine with her new adopters might not be like it is here. So we do try to tell the adopters, that, well, this is kind of their routine and this is what she's
Right.
used to help them and not be so quick and rational. Oh, bring them back to shelter, because it's the last place we want these animals to come back to. It's very stressful on them being here in the shelter and then going to a new environment and then getting somewhat comfortable in that new environment and then end up back in the shelter and to have to go
Now you've got
back
a
to that
really
routine again.
Yeah.
shaky dog.
We've
Yeah.
got some puppies for some reason get overlooked, and they practically grow up here.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
this is all they know. So you can see how it would take a little adjustment to get used to being in a home environment.
Yeah. I think we
I would
have
have thought the
3
puppies were the
siblings
first
down
to
there
go.
that have been here, that have grown up in here.
Sometimes certain dogs just get overlooked.
Sometimes it's like the whole litter, and then there'll be one left.
Yeah.
And then by the time it does get adopted out, it'd be a
I
teenager.
could not work here.
Like
So-
Medea. Medea
Yeah.
is a good example.
Yeah,
We had one named Medea, and that's a good example. The same thing. The exact thing happened.
Yep. All her litter mates got adopted, and then she's just grown up here. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
What is probably the biggest challenge that you guys face? I mean, as the shelter as a whole, not you individually, but the shelter as a whole. What's the biggest challenge?
I feel like there's so many.
Yeah, there is.
Name them. One, public perception.
Yes.
There's a lot of misleading information out there. Like people convinced that as soon as a dog comes in, it's euthanized immediately. That is not the case.
Right.
So, that to me is always, when I first started here, that was kind of my goal. I'm going to change everybody's minds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll change a few with this.
So, coming from the rescue coordinator point of view, I make it my mission. Like, these animals, all 156 of them are my babies. I tried my hardest to get them out of the shelter. I do not want to euthanize them. I fight for them. And I don't like how the public has a perception of us that, well, they're going to euthanize it after it's 5 days strangled. No, that is not the case. As you see clear here.
We are generous. I always heard 3, so.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
so,
and I heard that. And so that always surprises me. So that's one of the reasons we do as much outreach as we can. I was at TV Studio 5 this morning,
Right.
So we do whatever we can to try and, just not just necessarily educate, but just kind of enlighten people a little bit. And
Right.
I was trying to change public perception just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know about that 24petcare.com and Pet Connect.
Yeah.
And there was one other thing you said in the very beginning that I didn't know about. But I mean, it's all about getting the correct information out to the public.
Yeah, and then just we, getting more people aware that we're here, because that's why we run adoption specials for any season, the change in weather.
Yeah.
We just want to promote adoptions and find new homes.
And so it is, other than something like the wolf stock that was over in Irmo, I mean, is it always the adoption day, here?
So it used to be that we just do like monthly adoption events, but because we are so full, I have started doing monthly and weekly adoption events. Something new every week. But for the month of October, I did the Halloween. We did have a Pity Palooza, and we were advocating for our pit bulls. And it's sad to say we did get some backlash on that.
A
But
lot of pit bull haters.
yeah, a lot, and I got chills. And it makes me sad being a pit bull mom, seeing how many people have that.
It's not the dog, it's how they were raised.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A misconception that pit bulls have. It breaks my heart. And I will, if somebody ever sees me out in public and, sees me with my little girl, her name's Moo Moo. And she's actually our adoption ambassador.
We call her our ambassador.
Yeah. She goes everywhere with me. She's so good. And I would trust my little girl with a newborn child than I would a lab, a golden retriever. Have a golden retriever in my family that does not like strangers, and you would think that golden retrievers are the sweetest things.
Right.
No, new person he sees, he's barking and growling, whereas Moo, the pit bull, she just wants all the love and kisses.
Right.
So I am a big advocate for the pit bulls, and Woolstock. I was walking around, with the pit bulls. We did have 2 lab mixes, I think it was.
Huh?
I walked around with them one time, the pit bull babies. I was walking around, and sure enough, we got all the pit bull babies adopted.
Oh, good.
So I'm a big advocate for pit bulls, and we just really want the people to understand that, every dog has a past when it comes from the shelter.
Yeah.
But they deserve a chance. They
Sure.
didn't ask to live the life that they were given. So this is my mission. I've been in animal care since I was 16, and I'm 34 now. So this is all I've known.
Yeah.
So that's my passion.
Yeah, but that's with any dog, whether
Mm-hmm.
it be a pit bull or a lab or a whatever. I mean, it's
Exactly.
however it is
Yeah.
raised in the home
Mm-hmm.
is how they're going to act, and they do have that, and most can change with a lot of TLC and
Exactly.
lots of hugs and loves. But
And they feel our feelings.
yes.
And they feel when you're tense. They feel when you're sad. My 3-year-old cannot cry in the house. If he cries, Moo is right there, loving all over him to console him and to make sure that he's okay.
Right.
And she's been with us 2 years, going on April will be 2 years she's been with us, and she goes to schools with us. All
Yep.
of our career days, just to spread awareness for rescue and adoption. I give her little backstory of how she came into the shelter, and the kids love it. The kids love it when she goes to school.
yeah,
So
that's pretty cool. Yeah, they are smart. Extremely smart. That a lot of times, and I know this from personal, like they'll know somebody is sick, and I mean, definitely sick. Like nobody else knows they might have cancer, but all of a sudden that,
Yeah,
they
if they're diabetic, they can smell the ketocytes in a person. And so, I mean, a family member of mine, a dog saved their life. Yep.
yeah.
Because the dog told
We
me.
had Marley was he loved affection. I mean, we called him needy greedy baby, but never laid on people's feet. And then every time my father-in-law would visit, all of a sudden he laid on his feet. Well, and then what we found out several months later, that he was sick, but he knew long before we did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're very intuitive, I guess, is the word I should use for that. But yeah, sweet babies.
yes, very intuitive, and then very, very loyal to you.
That's right.
I say this all the time. I love dogs more than I love people. So, I love dogs more than I love people, and it's just the affection that they give off to
That's
you
right.
once they sense that you care for them, and that you're going to always be there for them. Isn't it right, Claire?
Yeah, I used to say this, if y'all ever had a bird, they had to have a bird here, and the musk smell that they put off.
Are you
That,
kidding me? That's my favorite smell.
oh, I know, me too, but not many. Most people are offended by it.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like a bird.
Oh,
background.
that means they like ya.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
bird lady
Yeah.
here too.
Yeah,
so
If you love on cockatoos, you get the white powder.
Yeah, yeah.
it's make
Mine
clear
was,
beer.
Blue front Amazon. But so, how do people get in touch with you if they just have questions? I mean, what's the website and the Facebook page, and obviously we can get the phone number and all that good stuff. But how do they get in touch with you? And
Yeah, I mean, they can always message us on Facebook if they have a question. I check it daily, for messages coming in. People are always calling. We're at 803-785-8149, extension 1. And a real person will answer the phone.
you mean we over there recording?
Well, there is, but if they hit 1, they can talk directly to somebody at that desk.
Yeah,
So, I mean, we'd rather talk to somebody who's having a problem than the dog end up here.
right,
So,
absolutely.
Absolutely call us.
Well, thanks, guys. I certainly appreciate. Oh, I did have one other question. What is the next event that you are having? When's the next? You said adoption events that you.
So the next adoption event, I haven't actually came up with, but it's
Something
going to be themed towards Thanksgiving.
And then you'll have one for Christmas.
Oh,
right?
of course.
Of
Yeah, 'cause
course,
this will air
Yeah.
probably after things.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Yeah.
I'll have one for Christmas. It'll be the whole month of December. I'll have one the whole month of January. So I'll have one the whole month of.
And you'll
each
announce it
month.
on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It will be, and then the county will also share it as well.
Yeah. Great. And we take part in like national adoption events as well,
Yes.
like Clear the Shelters. South Carolina takes part in a Pick Me SC. It's part of Clear No Kill South Carolina movement. So we take part in all those events as well.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and any local event, whether it's parades, like we'll stop at the Ice House Amphitheater. If anybody wants us to join them, we'll be more than happy to come out, bring several adoption dogs with us, and have a little adoption event. We do like going to Blowfish on their Tuesday night dog days.
Yeah.
So just if there's any local events that anybody wants us to come to, just reach out to us, let us know.
Yeah.
And
Great. We've gone to libraries. We go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
There's a email that they could for the events that they can email, which would be my email, and it's lcafrescue@lex-co.com.
Cool. Well, thank y'all so much. This was great.
Yeah.
I'll have to go see the barn.
Yeah. And we
Thanks
can walk you
much.
through our adoption area
Yeah.
too, let you see some of the babies that we have.
Yes, that'd be
So-
great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging out with us today, and we hope you enjoyed the show. If you'd like to be a guest on the show or have a person, business, idea, an event that Lexington needs to know more about, email me local@forallthingslexington.com. That's the number 4, y'all. Brought to you in part by GervaisStreetBridge.com, Columbia's most unforgettable free-to-list business directory.
And by Angela Barrett at HomeMattersSC.com. Building on what matters to you.